Let's talk about London.
Go Scully!
Let's talk about how the marathon went.
Go Steve!
Let's talk about the fact that I won't be at this year's Paris Olympics.
Go Stephen, let's go. Let's go Stephen, let's get it done.
That this whole journey had, built to this moment. And yeah, around mile 12, mile 13, I knew, it wasn't going to be my day. Let's talk about what happens next. And more importantly, let's talk about the impact that this has all had on my life.
Go Scully, it's just another Sunday!
This entire journey, probably, getting one of these, and how this probably cost me, if we're being honest, a spot at this year's Paris Olympics.
It is! Woo! Woo! It's just another Sunday!
The entire build-up I found really difficult. I came off the back of Dublin, and I really wanted to do Valencia, or I really wanted to do Seville. These really, quick courses, quick days. London Marathon, from mile 2, I was by myself. I ran from mile 2 to the finish by myself. It wasn't really the experience that I was after. I don't think it helps race result. But these other marathons, Valencia, Seville, they're really set up and geared towards the 208, the 212, 213 area. London's top heavy, go hard and just get stuck into 201, 202. So it's difficult. The reason I'm telling you that is because the reason I wasn't at Valencia or Seville, my body's just been really sore and tired. And I've been really, trying to be positive and trying to, I think I quoted that my body needs 2 months off and yoga and care and just what it doesn't need is this deadline approaching of Olympics and one more shot and here's what happens when you put your head towards a big goal. You don't allow space for the body to relax. You don't allow space for the the energy within the body to just calm down. And so if there is soreness and there is tightness and there is aches and pains, you're literally not allowing them to go away. You're building callus over the top of them and you're pushing through it. I've been waking up for months and my hamstrings cramp in the night and my glutes are sore. And some of those tough long runs that I did, I was so sore the next day that it felt like I'd done the marathon. Like how sore I was on Monday, the day after London, well, that's how sore I'd have been on Mondays and Tuesdays, having done those, tougher long runs. And then I'm wondering why for 4 or 5 days, I can't run 2Ks, the pace that I'd just done, 30K, 25K. And I honestly believe that my body is just tired. And I sort of said something, I think I journaled it, and I said, I'm going to stop being mad at myself for just being tired and sore. So today's video is sponsored by Ketone IQ. I want to thank Ketone IQ for their support during this build-up. I used it in race day, I used it in the training, and it basically helps to fuel you alongside the glycogen. It also helps with the recovery process because it helps you reuptake glycogen and store it post-exercise. So you can check out the link in the description. I've also done a full video about how to use it in Dublin Marathon, so you can check that out. But thank you so much, Ketone IQ, and you guys can check that out. And so, to cut a long story short, I think the end result at London was a very tired me. I think I tried to combine this as the training that needs to be done, or certainly from what I believe needs to be done, that's created success in the past, is what I tried to get done for London. And in doing so, I possibly just ran my race in training. I didn't possibly run my race, I definitely ran my race. The heart rate averages on those long runs that I did in training was higher than race day. I'm not joking you, from mile 2, mile 3, the back was stiff, the glutes and the hips, they were already sore, and I was hoping they would just settle. I was almost like attempted to massage them myself in the race without trying to look like I'm making excuses, or I've never felt that before so early in a race where I just don't have like power in the legs. And I talked the whole build up about maybe it was a lack of gym, and maybe it was. And I text Gary Locke after the marathon, and he's helped me so much when it comes to these big days where I've performed really well and I'm able to prepare with those guys up the mountain. But I didn't have that opportunity before London. I'd be really upset with myself if, you know, February, March, those guys were up in Font-Romeu in France, it was nice weather, and I just chose not to go. It was difficult. And so I'd text them and I said, you know, pre-Dublin, in the final 4 weeks, I did 10 to 12 runs, around 10 to 12 miles on what would be normally easy days. And I did those runs at what we classed as that real steady, solid day. In the final 5 weeks before London, there was one 10-mile run at that steady area. And the reason everything else was easy, the reason I wasn't in the gym, and it probably didn't help, but I was sore and I was tired. And I'm not disappointed with London because I, you know, ran 2:16 and like I don't get to go to the Olympics. I'm not upset about that. I am. But I'm not mad at myself because you can only give it what you can give it. You can't make your body do things. You can't force motivation. You can't force sacrifice. You just, we're human. You wake up, you give it what you've got that day, and you go to bed. And you wake up the next day and you repeat that, the next day you repeat that. I'm not a good enough or a naturally talented enough athlete that if I'm not all in to get a really great result, you know? For me to get those really great results, it requires everything. And I mean everything. And so this, first of all, this is sick. These aren't given out for free, you know? And that's 10 to 12 hour days working, you know? Honestly, like I'm not joking. I have to, the 2 weeks to go to London, I'm texting my friends saying I'm gonna have to ban myself from the laptop. But I love it. But running requires everything. And so when I go to the race hotel, you know, I walk in, and there's these, I'll tell you two things. I walk in and these amazing athletes are all there. And I just see the hunger. And I'm not going to get weird about this, but I see a hunger from they're excited to race. They're ready. You know, they need this result. They're dialed in, and I've been there, right? And then I see the literal hunger because I'm like, God, it looks like they haven't ate for about 2 months. And I'm kind of joking there, but I'm not. When your race means enough to you and you're trying to make an Olympic Games, you're in, you know. You'd ditch the laptop, you'd ditch the camera. You wouldn't be doing merchandise on the website. You wouldn't be designing new t-shirts. You wouldn't be, you know, thinking about YouTube videos. You're in. You'd leave the camera at home, the laptop at home. It's irrelevant. When you're in, you're in. The second thing I want to say is I'm on the bus to the start line and Kenenisa Bekele's 2 seats up, and I showed him a picture of me and him in 2006. 2006 at World Cross Country in Fukuoka, Japan. And I'm not mad at myself about not going to Ethiopia in January. If I wanted to make the Olympics, I probably should have gone to Ethiopia. Joined Gary, joined Soldan, who went and ran his qualifying time, joined Bashir Abdi. I chose the life that I've built, that I love and that I enjoy. But so you can't then be mad when you don't produce the goods. I prepared in what would be known as a vulnerable way, and I felt vulnerable on race day. Whether there was a tiredness, a psychological one, a physical one, when I look at my best marathon results, geez, they're sometimes a year apart, a year and a half apart, and maybe it takes me a while to develop that hunger that makes you willing to make all the right decisions. And I mean, I didn't not prepare hard for London. I still pushed, I still put in work, right? But that top level, oh, it's different. I mean that. So I've been doing this a long time, which is why am I going to be mad at myself for, you know, year 18 on the international stage, not, you know, breaking my back to achieve something, right? And you can't force that. It has to come to you. The other thing was, you know, I shared an elevator with Emile Caress, who was third in the London Marathon. Can we acknowledge how unreal that is? And he told me that he's listened to every podcast, you know, since the start and watches the YouTube stuff. And it's like, so I can't be mad when it's created such goodness. This YouTube stuff, podcast stuff, whatever it seems to some people that would say, no, focus just on the running, just do that, right? But what if you're literally born or made to do more than just, you know, selfishly perhaps focus on yourself all the time? I've been doing this a long time. I've done a lot of selfishly just focusing on myself, and it's been so nice to be able to give back. So there's such mixed emotions around, did I make a mistake? You know, should I have been just focusing on that? But it's all irrelevant. These videos aren't about excuses. They're just about, this is what happened. This is why. I didn't prepare and train hard enough to run Olympic qualifying time or to finish where I needed to finish to qualify for the Olympics, right? That's a fact. But is there more to the story than perhaps why you didn't? Was your body tired physically, psychologically? You're looking at a long amount of training, 18 months or something on this journey, and you know, possibly what it needed to do was not be so unfit 16 months ago, January or whatever it was, and instead of just running my, you know, first half of the journey in Dublin, I perhaps needed to have done that last April. And so maybe the reason you're not going to the Olympics is because you weren't fit enough last January to go and do an April marathon, and you left it too late. You were asking too much of your body and your psychology in a 7 or 8 month window, 5-6 month window. It's really difficult. So London was vulnerable. I was sore physically. The average heart rate 8 beats lower than normal. That's not cool. I set off at a heart rate that should be a breeze. I really struggled. In Portugal, I was getting the heart rate up to 178, 180 at the end of long runs. I couldn't get the heart rate up over 166, 167 for, you know, parts of that marathon. You're talking 14 beats missing during some parts of that marathon. And that's a sign of just physical tiredness. Maybe mental fatigue in there as well. I will not know how I finished that off. I think about it now, how, you know, sore I was physically and mentally just exhausted. But I just kept saying to myself, like, please enjoy this next mile. Come on, like, you're running the London Marathon. There's Big Ben, there's the Shard. You know, I was like, please enjoy parts of this. And the reason I wanted to enjoy parts of it is because if I'm being, you know, really honest, I don't know where it goes from here. I don't know. I'm going to tell you a fact. I will never stand on the start line of a marathon ever again, ever, unless I really want it. And I mean want it in a way that I'm willing to let the other stuff go, because it hurts me too much. Like it hurts me physically a lot, you know. It's a tough day, but it just really hurts the emotions when ambition still sits so high, but if the preparation, the desire, the want isn't there, it's not fair. It's really not fair. You're putting yourself into a really vulnerable position to then just suffer. And that's fun sometimes, but I feel like I've done that enough now. And so I don't know what I'd do next. I don't know if I, train for another marathon, just run because I love running. I am qualified for European Championships, and I need to have a good think about that. This all comes down to you have to want something enough, and I mean really want it, that you're willing to make the sacrifices, make those, decisions on a daily basis, an hourly basis, to put in the work. I preach that so much. This is the work, and some of that comes from a willingness to just endure what it takes to be bloody good at this sport at that top level. It's really, really tough, and it requires a lot. And so I need to wait. I really do need to wait and just see what happens. Does that motivation come? Does that drive come? And if it comes, we'll get stuck in. If it doesn't, you can't force that. Or it's just, it's not good for anybody. Ireland, me, Under Armour, everybody that supports me. It's not good for anybody. The channel will live. This is not a, I'm signing off, see ya. The channel will, of course, live. I don't know how. I've never known how. I've been winging this for the past year of my life. I just wing it. I turn the camera on, I don't know what I'm going to say, and then I say it. So the channel will live. I don't know in what way. The first priority is to rebuild the body, right? Starting from the ground up. That 2 months of yoga, I need to get it moving better again. I need to get some of the stiffness and the calluses that have built over fatigue moving better. Open the hips up, open the glutes up, open the lower back up, open the diaphragm up. Get everything moving better. And then get strong again in the gym. There's weakness. And that weakness will counteract itself almost by open it up and then strengthen. Open it up, strengthen. Open it up, strengthen. In a month's time, I want to be able to touch my fucking toes. And I want to feel strong. I don't want to be lying in bed feeling my hamstrings cramping, glutes cramping, tendinopathy problems in my hamstrings, metatarsal stress reaction in my foot that we prayed was already gone after Dublin and didn't happen in Dublin. There's been a lot going on. And so I need to work on these things. And then, of course, I'm going to run. I love running, if you haven't already realized. I don't always love that I put that pressure on when I pick these big goals, but I love running. And so the channel lives, running lives, but I need to wait until the goal means enough to me, that I'm willing to, do what it takes. And then you put yourself on the start line in a position to do what it takes, both in the build-up and on the day. The day of London, I was so willing to work. I loved seeing that I've still got that part of it. When I ran 209 at London, it was so hard that I didn't know if I could ever do that again. And now I've done it at Dublin and London. So I've showed myself that on the day, I still have that in me, that big hard effort, and that's what it takes. But I need the motivation, the discipline, the willingness to do the work to come back, because I want the goal so much. I don't know what the goal will be. I don't know what the race will be, but I need to know that there's something that I would love to achieve that means so much to me that I'm willing to put in the work. That why, And the reason that perhaps doesn't exist right now, guys, I've ran 209, 6108, I've podiumed at Dublin twice. I've been between 11th and 13th at London, I think 4 times. I've been to the Olympics, although I didn't finish it off. I've been there. I've been to World Champs, European Cross Country, World Mountain Running Championships. There's a lot of things I have achieved. And so the next chapter perhaps just has to be about I'm a runner and less about the goals. And what did we talk about? Process over outcome. If you want to be a runner and that's your craft and that's your art, do it. Do it right and do it well, or don't do it at all. Thank you so much. You can still check out the running school. Merchandise still exists. I did order a few too many t-shirts that still need to be sold, or they'll just sit for eternity. But you can check those out. You can check out the running school. It helps all this, funds all this. And yeah, I'm so grateful for everything until now. And, you know, I'm excited also about, you know, what happens next, but I don't quite know yet. But, you know, take care.